Okay, for those of you who do not already know him, this is Scott Goleman. He's running for the 221st District Court, which is different than the course the candidate who just left is running for. This time of night, all of our minds start getting close to
He is our first candidate in this court.
Yes. Yes. So, please welcome Scott Goleman. Mr. Goleman, you have, I think we're going to cut it to 4 minutes for your opening argument, sir.
Okay, well, like I said, my name is Scott Goleman. I'm running for the 221st District Court. And now that I know I've cut to 4 minutes, I'll sort of shorten my comments. I would like to introduce my wife to y'all. Her name is Doris Goleman. She's Executive Director of the Montgomery County Food Bank. For about, I think she's on her 8th year now. We have raised 4 boys here in Montgomery County. And 3 of them graduated from Caney Creek High School. We have a sophomore at Caney Creek High School. One of them's 26, graduated from SAM. The other one's 21, is a junior at Pepperdine studying theology to become a youth minister. We have a 19-year-old that's at Lone Star who was going to be our football player until he blew out a knee. And then we have a 15-year-old that's a sophomore. I came here in 1987. I followed my future wife here, and I've been here ever since. And if you look at the literature, my website, my brochures and stuff, and you compare that to my 3 opponents, I think the thing that separates me from them is that I have served the citizens of Montgomery County. I have been involved in Montgomery County since 1988, basically. I joined, became a life member of the Montgomery County Fair Association in '88. I ran the livestock show for 9 years. I'm in my 8th or 9th year of the livestock auction. I've been on the executive board for approximately 15 years. I'm on the scholarship committee, and I'm very proud of that because we put back almost $1 million in the hands of the youth of Montgomery County each year, as well as over $100,000 in scholarships. And most of my community involvement has been focused on the youth of Montgomery County. You look at my literature, you'll see that from baseball coach, volunteer at the food bank, things of that nature. So I've been very civic-minded. I just haven't practiced law. I've been involved in the community, and I've served the community, and I think that's what separates me. So when you have 3 other candidates, why me over them? I came to Montgomery County when I think every elected official was a Democrat. And I've been a Republican when I came here, and I stayed true to my roots, and I've been that way ever since. And you can say, well, just because you're a Republican doesn't mean that you are conservative. Well, even though I'm an attorney now, I still have on my cowboy boots. I grew up farming and ranching. I grew up in very, very small towns. I grew up in the Church of Christ, and have been very conservative my entire life due to my parents and my grandparents and other aunts and uncles. So I came here as a very conservative Republican, and that's what I've remained. Now, this is a general jurisdiction court, which means that it handles criminal and civil cases including family law. I will tell you, out of over 21 years of practice, most of my practice has been civil litigation, which means that I have not handled criminal law. Why? And you're going to hear from one of the candidates that this court right now is 95% criminal. Well, first off, that does not bother me. But there is a reason why I have not done criminal law in my 21 plus years of practice. I told myself early on when I was at law school, the only way I would do anything criminal-wise was if I worked for a district attorney. In other words, for the prosecution. Now, don't get me wrong, I think everybody's entitled to a fair trial, but I'm not the one that was willing or interested in defending people. So as a result of that, I went the civil side. To become a trial lawyer, to become a really good trial lawyer, to get the most trial experience you possibly can get, there's 2 avenues. 1, work for a DA and do criminal prosecution, or 2, work for an insurance defense company. And that's where I started out with Reuben Hope doing insurance defense for State Farm, Allstate, USAA. I got the trial experience. I cannot tell you how many trials I've handled, but it's been in the hundreds. I will tell you this, the majority of the cases I've handled have not been in Montgomery County, even though I know the courts, I know the judges very, very well. Most of my cases I've handled all over the state of Texas. Why do I want to be the judge of this court? I have 1 minute left, so let me finish up with that. I'm not talking about the judges in Montgomery County, but the cases I've handled across the state, I've seen more injustice than I care to see. And most of the injustice I've seen is not with the attorneys. Attorneys will take advantage of it because most of the time it has been from the judge. Now that's a sad thing to say because I was taught and my ideals has always been that the judiciary is supposed to be fair and impartial. Everybody is supposed to be entitled to a fair trial. And unfortunately, that's not what I have seen in my years of practice across the state of Texas. That's why I want to be judge. That's why I want to be judge of this court. Anybody that knows me know I'm fair. They know I'm not going to give preferential treatment to attorneys or parties that I know over others. That's just the way I am, and that's why I'm running for judge. Time's up.
Open up to questions. We'll start with Adrian.
Just about the role of government. Government usurps authority that doesn't belong to it in many cases. And along that line is the role of the courts in criminal cases. Is it primarily punishment or reforming the criminal?
My personal opinion?
I want to know what you say, yeah.
Okay. Well, my personal opinion is it's not for reforming the criminal. It's to protect the citizens, in this case of Montgomery County in the state of Texas. Before they ever get to the trial, they're going to go through all the law enforcement investigation, arrest, indictment, and all of that. And then before they ever get to the judge, they're going to go through the process of trying to reach a plea with the defense attorney and the state prosecutor. If they get to that, the judge is never involved up until that point in time. Usually when there's a plea, that's the first time that the judge necessarily gets involved unless he's the one setting bail, and they rotate. So it very well may be that the judge doesn't get involved until there's a plea. The judge does not have to accept the plea. I think as a judge, you've got to look at the prior conduct and prior record. Now, a first-time offender may not necessarily need to be treated the same as someone that's got a rap sheet a mile long that's been in and out of TDC over the years. In that situation, of utmost importance is protecting the people of the state, protecting the people of the citizens of Montgomery County. But with all that in mind, I don't think zero tolerance is the answer. I mean, all you got to do is look at our public school system to realize that zero tolerance doesn't work. I think that a judge has to consider the facts of every case before him or her, not have one solution to fit all deals. Makes it a whole lot harder on the judge, makes it a whole lot harder on the court staff, but I think that's what needs to be done so that justice is done.
You mentioned in your introductory comments that you had observed injustice in the court system, and it was on the part of the judges. Now, I can interpret that in a number of ways. So could you clarify that, illustrate it? What do you mean by that? Okay,
well, the best example in the most of the situation that I've seen, when a case comes before a court, lawsuits initially filed, the judge is really not going to get involved until the first hearing or, a scheduling orders entered if there's a hearing on that. My position is the parties should start off on an even playing field, equally. No side gets favored over the other, no attorney gets favored over the other, and that even playing field continue throughout the entire trial, from very beginning to very end. Because otherwise, you're not going to have justice, you're going to have injustice. And it's up to the judge to ensure that justice prevails. What does that mean? As far as I'm concerned, it means that the truth is found. However that's possible, the judge should ensure that the truth is sought, the truth is found, the law is applied to that truth so that justice prevails and the truth prevails. So you've got to let the side, you can't, when the judge becomes impartial, or that's not the right word, but the judge starts treating one side over another, you have, from that moment on, the possibility of injustice. And as long as it goes on, it continues to grow. And if a judge is allowing it, and I've been on the short end of the stick, where I've got beat up, hometown, so to speak, but when a judge allows that type of conduct to occur, the opposing attorney is going to jump on that bandwagon and take advantage of it all he can. And that's not what our judicial system is about. That's not what our founding fathers established it for.
Gil, did you have a question?